Tom Clonan is my name, and I'm an independent candidate for the Senate on the Trinity College Dublin panel. I'm a journalist, an academic, a parent, a carer and a whistleblower. But above all, I'm a carer for one of my children. I have 4 kids. One of my sons, Owen, he's 14 years old. He has a neuromuscular disease and is a wheelchair user. He's also legally blind. And in the last 7 years, because of cuts to health and austerity, he's lost all of his physiotherapy, speech therapy, hydrotherapy, occupational therapy. He's in a wheelchair that's too small for him. I've done everything that I can as a parent for him. I've done everything as I can as a journalist, an academic, and my motivation for running to the Senate is to get into Leinster House and transform the narrative and the conversation around disability, and to give my son Owen and the thousands of children and young adults like him to lobby and change the conversation around equality for them. In terms of public service, in the 1980s, after I graduated from Trinity, I served for 11 years in our defence forces as an army officer. I served in the Middle East and the former Yugoslavia, and in Lebanon I witnessed at first hand the massacre of hundreds of innocent men, women and children during the Israeli Operation Grapes of Wrath in 1996. And as a consequence of that, I have a huge commitment to Ireland's unique perspective on peace and reconciliation in the world. So if I were elected to the Senate, that's a very important role or tradition I'd like to reinforce. Ireland as peacekeepers and as global citizens in the world. For my last 4 years, when I was promoted captain, I did a doctoral thesis on women in the Defence Forces, and my research uncovered unacceptably high levels of sexual harassment, sexual violence and rape of female soldiers. And as a whistleblower, I ended decades of sexual violence against women in the Defence Forces and transformed the equality culture of our armed forces. And if elected to the Senate, I would hope to take that same energy as a whistleblower and to transform the equality culture of Ireland as it applies to children, young adults and the elderly with disabilities. We did the right thing last year for our gay and lesbian brothers and sisters on marriage equality. I want Trinity graduates to vote for me and do the right thing for all of our brothers and sisters who are different through disability, through no choice of their own, and who have been so badly hit by cuts and austerity. I want them to live autonomous, fulfilled and happy lives. Yeah, well, I think as a Trinity graduate, the third level sector, and Trinity in particular, has a really important role to play in Irish public life. With the Celtic Tiger and the so-called period of austerity, we've seen huge intellectual and ethical failures in Irish society. And 2016, 100 years after the Rising, we're trying to imagine what kind of a society or republic we're going to have. And I think Trinity and the rest of the third level sector should not just be an engine for economic recovery, but they should also be instrumental in promoting Ireland's ethical, intellectual and philosophical recovery, so that we become not just an economy, but a real society. And for that to happen, Trinity, NUI universities, the Institute of Technology sector, they have to embrace diversity, inclusion and equality to be truly universities in the fullest sense of that word. Otherwise, they're just businesses. I voted for Shannon reform. I think the Senate, our upper house, is really important, and it gives citizens an opportunity to, if you like, scrutinise and bring a balance to legislation that's passed in the lower house. I think we really need to use the Senate to transform narratives around key areas. For example, Catherine Zappone transformed the conversation around marriage equality. Gillian Van Turnhout, as a senator, transformed the conversation around children's rights. Averil Power on adoptive rights. And I think senators have a unique opportunity on non-partisan, non-party lines to really bring about the kind of philosophical, ethical and intellectual transformation that Ireland really needs at this point in her development and in her growth. So as a student, I grew up in Finglas, and I went to Christian Brothers School in Finglas, and I was very fortunate and lucky enough to get a place in Trinity College. I studied education here from 1984 to 1987, almost 30 years ago, I'm sad to say. And Trinity was and is a very, very warm and welcoming and open community. And from the minute I walked through Front Arch and onto the cobblestones, I felt a part of that Trinity community. And one thing I learned in Trinity was to realise my full potential as a student, as a person, and as a professional. And Trinity is a meritocracy. You work hard, you get the results. And if you like, it's almost like an ideal microcosm of what our society should be like, where, you know, everybody should be allowed to realise their full potential, no matter where they come from. Finglas, Kerry, Belfast, it doesn't matter, that we all have that opportunity to become full participating citizens. And if you like, Trinity certainly invested that on me, made me intellectually curious, and made me very, very anxious to do the right thing, which I did as an army officer, as a journalist, and now as a parent and a carer.